Welcome to the Behavior Revolution Scriptures, Book of Mark, Chapter 1. The good news about Yahusha the Messiah, the son of Alahim, begins with what the prophet Isaiah said would happen. He wrote, "Listen, I will send my messenger ahead of you. He will prepare the way for you. There is someone shouting out in the desert, 'Prepare the way for Yahuwah. Make the road straight for him.'" And that's in Malachi 3 and Isaiah 40. So John came and was baptizing people in the desert area, telling them to be cleansed through repentance if they wanted to change their lives. And then their sins would be forgiven. All the people of Judea, including everyone from Jerusalem, came out to John, confessing all the bad things they'd done, and he baptized them in the river Jordan. John wore clothes made from camel's hair and a leather belt around his waist. He also ate locusts and wild honey. John told the people, "Someone is coming soon who's able to do more than I can, for I'm not even worthy or good enough to be the servant who stoops down to untie his sandals. I baptize you with water, but the one who's coming will baptize you with Alahim's set-apart spirit." And about that time, Yahusha came from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to the place where John was. And John baptized Yahusha in the Jordan River. As Yahusha was coming up out of the water, he saw the sky torn open, and the Spirit came down on him like a dove. Then a voice came from the heavens saying, "This is my Son, the one I love, in whom I am very pleased." Then the Spirit sent Yahusha into the desert alone, and he was there for 40 days being tempted by Satan. During this time he was out among the wild animals. Then angels came and helped him. After John was in prison, Yahusha went into Galilee and told people the good news about the kingdom of heaven. He said, "Repent, for the reign of heaven is very near. Repent, change your hearts and lives, and believe the good news." Yahusha was walking by Lake Galilee, and he saw Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew. These two men were fishermen, and they were throwing a net into the lake to catch fish. Yahusha said to them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you a different kind of fisherman. You will bring in people, not fish." So they immediately left their nets and followed Yahusha. Then Yahusha continued walking by Lake Galilee, where he saw two more brothers, James and John, the sons of Zebedee. They were in their boat, preparing their nets to catch fish. Their father Zebedee and the men who worked for him were in the boat with the brothers too. When Yahusha saw the brothers, he told them to come follow him. So they left their father and followed Yahusha. Yahusha and his followers went to Capernaum. On the Sabbath day, Yahusha went into the synagogue and taught the people. They were amazed at his teaching, for he did not teach like the other teachers of Moses' law. He taught like someone with true authority. While Yahusha was in the synagogue, a man was there who had an evil spirit inside him. The man shouted, "Yahusha, son of Nazareth, what do you want with us? Did you come to destroy us? I know who you are, Alahim's set-apart one." Yahusha, with his voice full of warning, said, "Be quiet and come out of him." The evil spirit made the man shake. Then the spirit made a loud noise and came out of him. The people were all amazed, asking each other, "What is happening here? This man is teaching something new, and he teaches with authority. He even commands evil spirits, and they obey him." So the news about Yahusha spread really quickly everywhere in the area of Galilee. Yahusha and his disciples left the synagogue. They all went with James and John to the home of Simon and Andrew. Simon's mother-in-law was very sick. She was in bed and had a fever. The people there told Yahusha about her, so he went to her bed. Yahusha held her hand and helped her stand up. Then the fever left her, and she was healed, and she began serving them all. That night, after the sun went down, the people brought to Yahusha many who were sick. They also brought those who had demons inside them. Everyone in the town gathered at the door of that house, and Yahusha healed many of those who had different kinds of sicknesses. He also forced many demons out of people, but he wouldn't allow the demons to speak because they knew who he was. The next morning, Yahusha woke up very early. He left the house while it was still dark and went to a place where he could be alone and pray. Later, Simon and the other followers went to look for Yahusha. When they found him, they said, "Everyone is looking for you." But Yahusha answered, "We should go to another place. We can go to the other towns around here, and I can give my Father's message to those people too. That is why I came." So Yahusha travelled everywhere in Galilee. He spoke in the synagogues, and he forced demons out of people. A man who had leprosy came to Yahusha. The man bowed on his knees and begged him, "You have the power to heal me if you want." And these last words made Yahusha angry. But he touched him anyway, and he said, "I do want, and you're healed." And immediately the leprosy disappeared, and the man was healed. Yahusha told the man to go, but he gave him a strong warning. "Don't tell anyone about what I did for you, but go and let the priest have a look at you and offer a gift to Alahim because you've been healed. Offer the gift that Moses commanded, and this will show everyone that you're healed." The man left there and told everyone he saw that Yahusha had healed him. So the news about him spread. The news about Yahusha spread far and wide, and that is why he couldn't enter a town if people saw him. He stayed in places where people didn't live, but people came from all the towns to the places where he was. Chapter 2. A few days later, Yahusha came back to Capernaum. The news spread that he was back home. A large crowd gathered to hear him speak. The house was so full that there was no place to stand, not even outside the door. While Yahusha was teaching, some people brought a paralyzed man to see him. He was being carried by 4 of them, but they could not get the man inside to Yahusha because the house was so full of people. So they went to the roof above Yahusha and made a hole in it. Then they lowered the mat with the paralyzed man on it. When Yahusha saw how much belief they had, he said to the paralyzed man, "Young man, your sins are forgiven." And some of the scribes and teachers of the law were sitting there and saw what Yahusha did, and they said to themselves, "Why does this man say things like that? What an insult to Alahim, for no one but Alahim can forgive sins." And Yahusha knew immediately what these scribes were thinking, because he's Alahim. So he asked them, "Why do you question or think like this in your hearts? Which is easier, to tell this crippled man that his sins are forgiven, or to tell him to get up and walk? There's no proof for you that his sins are forgiven, is there? But in order for you to know that the Son of Man has all authority on earth to forgive sins," Yahusha looked at the paralyzed man and said, "Stand up, pick up your mat, and go home." And immediately the paralyzed man stood up, picked up his mat, and walked out of the room. Everyone could see him and were amazed and praised Alahim, saying, "This is the most amazing thing we've ever seen." Yahusha then went to the lake again, and many people followed him there. So Yahusha taught them. He was walking beside the lake, and he saw a man named Levi, or Matthew, son of Alphaeus. Levi was sitting at his place for collecting taxes, and Yahusha said to him, "Follow me." Then Levi stood up and followed Yahusha. Later that day, Yahusha and his followers ate at Matthew's house. There were also many other tax collectors and sinners people with bad reputations, eating with them. And many of these people followed Yahusha. But when some scribes and Pharisees saw Yahusha eating with such lowly, common people, they asked his followers, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And overhearing this, Yahusha said to them, "It is the sick people who need a doctor, not those who are healthy. I didn't come to invite the good people into repentance. I came to invite and help the sinners." The followers of John and the Pharisees were fasting. Some people came to Yahusha and said, "John's followers fast, and the followers of the Pharisees fast, but why don't your followers fast?" Yahusha answered, "At a wedding, the friends of the bridegroom are not sad while he is with them. They cannot fast while the bridegroom is still there, but the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them. Then they will fast." Why would they fast with the bridegroom dwelling right there among them? And why would we, with him alive inside us? Fasting or afflicting the being was a shadow of dying to the fleshly self today with its lusts and desires and stubborn doing things your own way. When someone sews a patch over a hole in an old coat, they never use a piece of cloth that is not been shrunken yet. If they do, the patch will shrink and pull away from the coat. Then the hole will be worse. Also, no one ever pours new wine into old wineskins. The wine would break them, and the wine would be ruined along with the wineskins. You always put new wine into new wineskins. And we need a divine heart operation first, the living words written on a new heart by a new spirit. Before Yahusha puts his spirit inside us, we must become new. On the Sabbath day, Yahusha and his disciples were walking through the grain fields. His disciples picked some grain to eat. Some Pharisees said to Yahusha, "Why are your followers doing this? It is against the law to pick grain on the Sabbath." Yahusha answered, "You've read what David did when he and his soldiers were hungry and needed food, haven't you? It was during the time of Abiathar the high priest. David went into Alahim's house and ate the special showbread that was offered to Alahim. And the law of Moses says that only priests can eat that bread. David also gave some of the bread to the soldiers with him. The Sabbath day was made for mankind, not mankind for the Sabbath. It was not made for people to be ruled over by others, but to be blessed and delighted by it. And guess what? The Son of Man is the master of the Sabbath." There is a physical Sabbath Shemitah cycle which Yahusha fulfilled to usher in his new covenant Sabbath of rest fulfillment, only available to those overcoming the flesh daily in preparation for the true seventh day eternal millennial rest that comes at Yahusha's return. Chapter 3. Another time, Yahusha went into the synagogue where there was a man with a crippled hand. Some Jews there were watching Yahusha closely. They were waiting to see if he would heal the man on a Sabbath day. They wanted to see Yahusha do something wrong so that they could catch him out and accuse him. Yahusha said to the man with the crippled hand, "Stand up here so that everyone can see you." Then Yahusha asked the people, "Is it right to do good on the Sabbath day or evil? To save a life or to kill?" But they all stayed silent and wouldn't answer him. Yahusha looked at the people angrily, upset by how stubborn and hard-hearted they all were. Then he said to the man, "Hold out your hand." The man held out his hand, and it was healed. Then the Pharisees left and made plans with the Herodians about a way to kill Yahusha. Yahusha went away with his disciples to the lake. A large crowd of people from Galilee followed them. Many also came from Judea, from Jerusalem, from Edom, from the area across the Jordan River, and from the area around Tyre and Sidon. These people came because they heard about all that Yahusha was doing. Yahusha saw how many people there were, so he told his followers to get a small boat and make it ready for him. He wanted the boat so that the crowds of people wouldn't squash him. He had healed many of them, so all the sick people were pushing toward him to touch him. Some people had evil spirits inside them. When the evil spirits saw Yahusha, they bowed before him and shouted, "You are the Son of Alahim." But Yahusha gave the spirits a strong warning not to tell anyone who he was. Then Yahusha went up on a hill and invited those he wanted to go with him. So they joined him there, and he chose 12 men to be with him, for he wanted to send them to other places to tell people the gospel, the good news of deliverance. He also wanted them to heal sicknesses and cast out demons from people. And these are the names of the 12 men Yahusha chose: Simon, the one Yahusha named Peter; James and his brother John, the sons of Zebedee, the ones Yahusha called sons of thunder; Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, Judas Iscariot the betrayer. Then Yahusha and his disciples went into a home, but again a large crowd gathered there. There were so many people that he and his followers couldn't even eat. And when his family heard about this, they went to get him, saying, "He's out of his mind." And the scribes from Jerusalem said, "Beelzebub, Satan, is living inside him, so he casts out demons by the ruler of the demons." So Yahusha called them together and talked to them using some parables or stories, saying, "Satan will not force his own demons out of people. A kingdom that fights against itself will not survive, and a family that is divided will not survive either. If Satan is against himself and is fighting against his own, he won't survive, and that would mean his end. Whoever wants to enter a strong man's house and steal his things must first tie him up. Then they can steal the things from his house." Speaking, of course, about demonic possession. I want you to know that people can be forgiven for all the sinful things they do, and even for the horrible things they say. But anyone who mocks or speaks against the set-apart spirit, and that's blasphemy, character assault, declaring that what Yahusha is doing supernaturally in someone else is actually evil and Satan's work. Anyone who speaks against the set-apart spirit will never be forgiven. They will be guilty of that sin forever. Yahusha said this because the scribes had accused him of having a demon spirit inside him. Mocking and calling the activity and behavior of Yahusha's spirit demonic and from Satan is unforgivable. Then Yahusha's mother and brothers came. They stood outside and sent someone in to tell him to come out. Many people were sitting around Yahusha, so they said to him, "Your mother, your brothers, and your sisters are waiting for you outside." Yahusha asked, "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers really?" Then he looked at the people sitting around him and said, "These people are my mother and my brothers. My true brother and sister and mother are those who do what my Father wants." Chapter 4. Another time, Yahusha began teaching by the lake, and a large crowd gathered around him. So he got into a boat so that he could sit and teach from the lake, and all the people stayed on the shore near the water. Yahusha used parables or stories to teach them many things. One of his lessons went like this: "Listen, a farmer went out to sow seed. While he was scattering the seed, some of it fell by the road. The birds came and ate all that seed. Other seed fell on rocky ground where there was not enough dirt. It grew quickly right there because the soil was not deep. But then the sun rose and the plants were burnt. They died because they did not have deep roots. Some other seed fell among thorny weeds. Those weeds grew and stopped the good plants from growing, so they did not bear any fruit. But some of the seed fell on good ground. There it began to grow, and it made grain, bearing good fruit. Some plants made 30 times more grain, some 60 times more, and some 100 times more. So if you've got ears, listen to what I'm saying to you. Later, Yahusha was away from the people, and his 12 disciples and others asked him about those stories. Yahusha said, "Only you can know the secret truth about the kingdom of heaven, but to the other people, I conceal it all using stories. I do this so that they will look and look, but never really see. They will listen and listen, but never really understand. For if they did saw and understood, they might change and be forgiven. And does it look like they want that?" Then Yahusha said to his disciples, "Do you understand this parable? If you don't, how will you understand any other story? The farmer is like someone who plants Alahim's living word in people. Sometimes the word falls on the path. That is like some people who hear the word of Alahim, and as soon as they hear it, Satan comes along and takes away the word that was planted in them. Other people are like the seed planted on rocky ground. They hear the word, and they quickly and gladly accept it, but they don't allow it to sink deep into their lives. They keep it only a short time. And as soon as trouble or pressure comes, because of the word they accepted, they give up. Others are like seed planted among the thorny weeds. They hear the word, but their lives become riddled with the worries of life, the love of money, and everything else they desire. This chokes the word from growing, so it doesn't produce any fruit in their lives. And others are like the seed planted on the good ground. They hear the living word and accept it. They believe it, obey it, surrender, listen, and do it. Then they grow and produce a good crop, sometimes 30 times more, sometimes 60 times more, and sometimes 100 times more." Then Yahusha said to them, "You don't take a lamp and hide it under a bowl or a bed, do you? Of course not. You put it on a lampstand. Everything that is hidden will be revealed and made clear, and every secret thing will be brought into the light and made known. You people, if you've got ears, then listen. Think carefully about what you're hearing. Alahim will know how much to give you by how much you understand now, and he'll always give you more than you deserve. The people who have some understanding will be given more, but those who don't have much will lose even the small amount that they have." Then Yahusha said, "The kingdom of heaven is like a man who plants seed in the ground. The seed begins to grow. It grows night and day. It doesn't matter whether the man is sleeping or awake. The seed still grows. He doesn't know how it happens. Without any help, the ground produces grain. First the plant grows, then the head, and then all the grain in the head. When the grain is ready, the man cuts it. This is the harvest time." Then Yahusha said, "What can I use to show you what the kingdom of heaven is like? What story can I use to explain it? The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which is smaller than any other seed on earth that you can plant. But when you plant it, it grows and becomes the largest of all the plants in your garden. It has branches that are very big, and the wild birds can come and make nests there and be protected from the sun." Yahusha used many parables like these to teach the people. He taught them all they could understand. He always used stories to teach them. But when he was alone with his disciples, Yahusha explained everything crystal clear to them. That day, at evening, Yahusha said to his followers, "Come with me across the lake." So they left the crowd behind and went with Yahusha in the boat he was already in. There were also other boats that went with them. A very bad wind came up on the lake. The waves were coming over the sides and into the boat, and it was almost full of water. But Yahusha was in the boat sleeping, with his head on a pillow. The followers went and woke him, saying, "Teacher, don't you care about us? We're all going to drown." So Yahusha stood up and gave a command to the wind and the water. He said, "Stop, be quiet, be still." Then the wind stopped, and the lake became calm. He said to his followers, "Why are you so afraid? Why do you still have no belief?" They were petrified and asked each other, "What kind of man is this? Even the wind and the water obey him." He's Alahim. Chapter 5. Yahusha and his disciples went across the lake to the area where the Gadarean people lived. When Yahusha got out of the boat, a man came to him from the caves where the dead are buried. This man had an evil spirit living inside him. He lived in the burial caves. No one could keep him tied up, even with chains. Many times people had put chains on his hands and feet, but he broke the chains. No one was strong enough to control him. Day and night he stayed around the burial caves and on the hills, screaming and cutting himself with rocks. While Yahusha was still far away, the man saw him. He ran to Yahusha and bowed down before him. And as Yahusha said, "You evil spirit, come out of this man." The man shouted loudly, "What do you want with me, Yahusha, Son of the Most High Alahim? I beg you in Alahim's name not to punish me." Then Yahusha asked the man, "What is your name?" The man answered, "My name is Legion, for there are many of us." The spirits inside the man begged Yahusha again and again not to send them out of the area. A large herd of pigs was eating on a hill near there. The evil spirits begged Yahusha, "Send us to the pigs, let us go into them." So Yahusha allowed them to do this. The demons left the man and went into the pigs. Then the herd of pigs ran down the hill and into the lake. They were all drowned. There were only about 2,000 pigs in that herd. The men who had the job of caring for the pigs ran away to the town and to the farms and told everyone what happened. The people went out to see. They came to Yahusha and they saw the man who had many spirits, evil spirits, who had had many evil spirits. He was sitting down and he was wearing clothes. He was in his right mind, in all sanity again. And when they saw this, they were afraid. Those who had seen what Yahusha did told the others what happened to the man who had had the demons living in him. And they also told him about the pigs. Then the people began to beg Yahusha to leave their area. Yahusha was preparing to leave in a boat. The man who was now free from the demons begged to go with him. But Yahusha did not allow the man to go. He said, "Go tell your family and friends. Tell them about all that the Master did for you. Tell them how good Alahim is to you." So the man left and told the people in the 10 towns about the great things Yahusha did for him. And everyone was amazed. Yahusha went back to the other side of the lake in the boat. There, a large crowd of people gathered around him on the shore. A leader of the synagogue came. His name was Jairus. He saw Yahusha and bowed down before him. He begged Yahusha again and again, saying, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and lay your hands on her. Then she will be healed and will live." So Yahusha went with Jairus, and many followed Yahusha. They were pushing very close around him. There, among the people, was a woman who had been bleeding for the past 12 years. She had suffered very much, and many doctors had tried to help her, so all the money she had was spent, but she was not improving. In fact, her sickness was getting worse. The woman heard about Yahusha, so she followed him with the other people and touched his garment, for she thought, "If I can just touch his clothes, that will be enough to heal me." And as soon as she touched his garment, the tzitzit on the corner of his garment, her bleeding stopped. She felt that her body was healed from all the suffering. Yahusha immediately felt power go out from him, so he stopped and turned around. "Who touched me?" he said. The disciples said to Yahusha, "There are so many people pushing against you. Why would you ask who's touching you?" But Yahusha continued looking for the one who touched him. The woman knew that she was healed, so she came and bowed at Yahusha's feet. She was shaking with fear. She told Yahusha the whole story. He said to her, "Dear woman, you are made well because you believed. Now go in peace. You will not suffer anymore." The fact that Yahusha, like every Jew, wore tzitzit is no indication that his bride needs to incorporate them into their fashion accessories today. His word is written on our new hearts by his new spirit, and we have no need of external trinkets or traditions. While Yahusha was still there speaking, some men came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. They said, "Your daughter is dead. There is no need to bother the teacher now." But Yahusha didn't care what the men said. He told the synagogue leader, "Don't be afraid, just believe." Yahusha let only James and John, the brother of James, go with him. They went to the synagogue leader's house, where Yahusha saw many people crying loudly. There was a lot of confusion. He entered the house and said, "Why are you people crying and making so much noise? This child is not dead. She's only sleeping." But everyone laughed at him. Yahusha then told the people to leave the house. Then he went into the room where the child was. He brought the child's father and mother and his 3 followers into the room with him. Then Yahusha held the girl's hand and said to her, "Talitha kumi." This means, "Little girl, I tell you to stand up." The girl immediately stood up and began walking. She was 12 years old. The father and mother and the followers were all amazed. Yahusha gave the father and mother very strict orders not to tell anyone, no people about this. Then he told them to give the girl some food to eat. Chapter 6. Yahusha left and went back to his hometown. His disciples went with him. On the Sabbath day, Yahusha taught in the synagogue, and many people heard him. They were amazed and said, "Where did this man get this teaching? How did he get such wisdom and authority? Who gave it to him? And where did he get the power to do miracles? Isn't he just the carpenter we know, Mary's son, the brother of James, John, Judah, and Simon? And don't his sisters still live here in town?" So they had a problem accepting him. Then Yahusha said to them, "People everywhere give honor to a prophet, except in his own hometown with his own people." And Yahusha was not able to do any miracles there, except the healing of some sick people by laying on of hands. He was surprised that the people there had no belief. Then he went to other villages in that area and taught. Yahusha called his 12 disciples together and sent them out in groups of 2 and gave them power over demon spirits. This is what he told them: "Take nothing for your trip except a stick for walking. Take no bread, no bag, no money. You can wear sandals, but don't take extra clothes. When you enter a house, stay there until you leave that house. If any town refuses to accept you or refuses to listen to you, then leave that town and shake the dust off your feet as a warning to them. For it will be better for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day they were judged than for that city." So his disciples left and went to other places. They talked to the people and told them to repent, change their lives and their lives. They forced many demons out of people and put olive oil on many who were sick and healed them. King Herod heard about Yahusha because he was now famous, and some of the people said, "He's just John the Baptist. He must have risen from the dead, and that's why he can do all these miracles." And other people said, "Nah, he's Elijah." Still others said, "He's a prophet, like the ones who lived long ago." Herod heard these things about Yahusha. He said, "This must be John, whose head I cut off. He's back from the dead." Herod himself had ordered his soldiers to arrest John and put him in prison. Herod did this to please his wife, Herodias. She had been married to Herod's brother Philip, but then Herod married her. And John had told Herod, "It's not right for you to be married to your brother's wife." So Herodias hated John. She wanted him dead. She was not able to persuade Herod to kill him. Herod was afraid to kill John because he knew that he was a good and righteous man. So he protected him. He liked listening to John, although what John said left him with so many questions. Then the right time came for Herodias to cause John's death. It happened on Herod's birthday. Herod gave a dinner party for the most important government leaders, the commanders of his army, and the most important people in Galilee. The daughter of Herodias came to the party and danced, and when she danced, Herod and the people eating with him were very pleased. So King Herod said to the girl, "I will give you anything you want." He promised her, "Anything you ask for, I will give you, even half of my kingdom." The girl went to her mother and asked, "What should I ask the King Herod to give me?" Her mother answered, "Ask for the head of John the Baptist." So right then the girl went back to the king. She said to him, "Please give me the head of John the Baptist. Bring it to me now on a plate." King Herod was very upset and sad, but he didn't want to break the promise he had made to her in front of his guests. So he sent a soldier to cut off John's head and bring it to him. The soldier went and cut off John's head in prison. He brought the head back on a plate and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. John's followers heard about what happened, and they came and got John's body and put it in a tomb. The disciples that Yahusha had sent out came back to him. They gathered around him and told him about all that they had done and taught. Yahusha and his disciples were in a very busy place. There were so many people that they didn't even have time to eat. He said to them, "Come with me. We will go to a quiet place to be alone. There we will get some rest." So Yahusha and his disciples went away alone. They went in a boat to a place where no one lived, but many people saw them leave and knew who they were. So people from every town ran to the place where they were going and got there before Yahusha. As Yahusha stepped out of the boat, he saw a large crowd waiting. He felt sorry for them because they were like sheep without a shepherd to care for them. So he taught the people many things. It was now very late in the day, and Yahusha's disciples came to him and said, "No one lives around here, and it is very late. So send the people away. They need to go to the farms and towns around here to buy some food to eat." But Yahusha answered, "You give them some food to eat." They said to Yahusha, "We can't buy enough food to feed all these people. We would all have to work a month to earn enough to buy that much bread." Yahusha asked them, "How many loaves of bread do you have now? Go and see." They counted their loaves of bread. They came back to Yahusha and said, "We have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." Then Yahusha said to them, "Tell everyone to sit in groups on the green grass." So all the people sat in groups. There were about 50 to 100 people in each group. Yahusha took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. He looked up to the sky and thanked Alahim for the food. Then he broke the bread into pieces, which he gave to his followers to distribute to the people. Then he divided 2 fish among everyone there. They all ate until they were full. And after they finished eating, the followers filled 12 baskets with the pieces of bread and fish that were left. There were about 5,000 men there who ate. Then Yahusha told his disciples to get into the boat. He told them to go to the other side of the lake to Bethsaida. He said he would come later. He stayed there to tell everyone they could go home. After he said goodbye to them, he went up into the hills to pray. And that night the boat was still in the middle of the lake. Yahusha was alone on the land. He saw the boat far away on the lake, and he saw his followers working hard to row the boat. The wind was blowing against them. Sometime between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning, Yahusha went out to the boat, walking on the water. He continued walking until he was almost past the boat. But his disciples saw Yahusha walking on the water. They thought he was a ghost, a phantom, and they started screaming. It scared them all to see him. But he spoke to them and said, "Don't worry, chill, it's me, don't be afraid." When he got into the boat with his disciples, the wind stopped, and they were completely amazed. They could not believe what had happened. It was like the miracle he did with the bread. They still didn't understand what it meant though. Yahusha and his disciples went across the lake and came to the shore of Gennesaret. They tied the boat there. When they were out of the boat, the people there saw Yahusha. They knew who he was, so they ran to tell others throughout the area. They brought sick people on mats to every place Yahusha went. Yahusha went into towns, cities, farms around that area, And every place they went, the people brought sick people to the marketplaces. They begged him to let them touch them, even just the hem of his garment. And all those who touched him were healed.
Chapter 7. Some scribes and Pharisees came from Jerusalem and gathered around Yahusha. They saw that some of his followers ate food with hands that were not clean, meaning that they did not wash their hands in a special ceremonial way. The Pharisees and all the other Jews never eat before washing their hands in a ceremonial way. They do this to follow the traditions they have from their elders who lived long ago. And when these Jews buy something in the market, they never eat it until they wash it in a special way also. They also follow other rules from their people who lived before them. They follow rules like washing of cups, pitchers, and pots. The scribes and Pharisees said to Yahusha, "Your followers don't follow the traditions we have from our great leaders who lived long ago. They eat their food with hands that are not clean. Why do they do this?" Yahusha answered, "You're all hypocrites. Isaiah was right when he wrote these words from Alahim about you, saying, 'These people honor me with the words from their lips, but their hearts are so far away from me, I'm not even important to them. Their worship of me is worthless. The things they teach are only human rules and traditions. You have stopped following Alahim's commands, instead preferring the man-made rules you got from others." Then he said, "You show great skill in avoiding the commands of Alahim so that you can follow your own teachings. Moses said, 'You must respect your father and mother.' He also said, 'Whoever says anything bad to their father or mother must be killed.' But you teach that people can say to their father or mother, 'I have something I could use to help you, but I won't give it to you. I'll give it to Alahim instead.' You are telling people that they do not have to do anything for their father or mother. So you are teaching that it is not important to do what Yahuwah said. You think it's important to follow those traditions you have, which you pass on to others, and you do many wicked things like that." Yahusha called the people to him again, saying, "Everyone should listen to me and understand what I am saying. There's nothing people can put in their mouth that will defile them and make them wrong. People are made wrong and unclean by what comes out from inside them, by their behavior. If you've got ears, then listen to what I'm really saying to you." Then Yahusha left the people and went into the house. His followers asked Yahusha about what he'd told the people. He said, "Do you still have trouble understanding? Surely you know that nothing enters the mouth from outside can make people unacceptable to Alahim. Food does not go into a person's mind, it goes into the stomach, then it goes out of the body." Yahusha is not talking about food laws or declaring forbidden foods now permitted. He's talking about the behavior that comes out of people's heart from their thought life. And Yahusha said, "The things that make people defiled and wrong are the things that come from the inside. All these evil things begin inside a person, in the mind: perverse thoughts, sexual sins, stealing, murder, adultery, greed, doing cruel things to people, lying, doing things that are normally morally wrong, jealousy, insulting people, proud talking, and stupid, foolish living. These wicked behaviors come from inside a person, and these are the things that make people unacceptable to Alahim." Yahusha went from there to the area around Tyre. He did not want the people in that area to know he was there, so he went into a house. But he could not stay hidden, a woman heard that he was there. Her little daughter had an evil spirit inside her. So the woman came to Yahusha and bowed down near his feet. She was not a Jew. She was born in Phoenicia, an area in Syria. She begged Yahusha to force the demon out of her daughter. Yahusha told the woman, "It is not right to take the children's bread and give it to the dogs. First let the children eat all they want." The children being Israel and everyone else unclean dogs from the nations. Yahusha came firstly for any leftovers of his divorced wife Israel, but his compassion, love, and blood covenant extends to all who believe and follow him. Sadly, most of the lost sheep of Israel reject him, so he rejects them. He died and raised up a new covenant with all nations who would engraft into him, not Israel. Through repentance and divine heart operation, through his narrow gate vein of deliverance and eternal transformation. She answered, "That is true, Master, but the dogs under the table can still eat the crumbs of food that the children don't eat." Then he told her, "Because of your genuine response, go on, for the demon has left your daughter, I promise." The woman went home and found her daughter lying on the bed. The demon was gone. Then Yahusha left the area around Tyre and went through Sidon. On his way to Lake Galilee, he went through the area of the 10 towns. While he was there, some people brought a man to him who was deaf and could not talk clearly. The people begged Yahusha to put his hand on the man to heal him. Yahusha led the man away from the people to be alone with him. He put his fingers in the man's ears, then he spat on a finger and put it on the man's tongue. Yahusha looked up to the sky, and with a loud sigh he said, "Ephatha," meaning open. As soon as Yahusha did this, the man was able to hear. He was able to use his tongue, and he began to speak clearly. Yahusha told the people not to tell anyone about this, but the more he told them not to say anything, the more people they told. They were all completely amazed. They said, "Look at what he's done. It's all good. He makes deaf people able to hear and gives a new voice to people who couldn't talk." Chapter 8. Another time, there were many people with Yahusha. The people had nothing to eat, so he called his disciples to him and said, "I feel sorry for these people. They have been with me for 3 days, and now they have nothing to eat. If I should not send them home hungry, if they leave without eating, they will faint on the way home. Some of them live a long way from here." Yahusha's disciples answered, "But we are far away from any towns. Where can we get enough bread to feed all these people?" Then Yahusha asked them, "How many loaves of bread do you have?" They answered, "We have 7 loaves of bread." Yahusha told the people to sit on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks to Elohim. He broke the bread into pieces and gave them to his disciples. He told them to give the bread to the people, and they did as he said. The disciples also had a few small fish. Yahusha gave thanks for the fish and told them to give the fish to the people. They all ate until they were full. Then Yahusha's disciples filled 7 baskets with the pieces of food that were left. There were about 4,000 men who ate. After they ate, Yahusha told them to go home. Then he went in a boat with his followers to the area of Dalmanutha. The Pharisees came to Yahusha and asked him questions. They wanted to test him and catch him out. So they asked him to do a miracle as a sign from Elohim. Yahusha sighed deeply and said, Why do you people ask to see a miracle as a sign? I want you to know that no miracle will be done to prove anything to you." Then Yahusha left them and went in the boat to the other side of the lake. The followers had only one loaf of bread with them in the boat. They forgot to bring more bread. Yahusha warned them, "Be careful. Guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod." The followers discussed the meaning of this. They said, "He's just having a go at us because we didn't bring enough bread." Yahusha knew that his disciples were talking about this. So he asked them, "Why are you still going on about bread? Don't you understand anything? Where have you been the last few months? Are you blind and deaf as well? What do I normally do when we don't have enough bread? Remember, I divided 5 loaves of bread for 5,000 people. Remember how many baskets you filled with pieces of food that were not eaten?" They answered, "We filled 12 baskets. And when I divided 7 loaves of bread for 4,000 people, how many baskets did you fill with the leftover pieces?" They said, "We filled 7 baskets. Then he said to them, "You remember all these things I do, yet you still don't understand. What's that about?" Yahusha and his disciples came to Bethsaida. Some people brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch the man. So Yahusha held the blind man's hand and led him out of the village. Then he spat on the man's eyes. He laid his hands on him and asked, "Can you see now?" The man looked up and said, "Yes, I see people. They look like trees walking around." Again, Yahusha laid his hands on the man's eyes, and the man opened them wide. His eyes were healed, and he was able to see everything clearly. Yahusha told him to go home and not into the town. Yahusha and his disciples went to the towns in the area of Caesarea Philippi. While they were traveling, Yahusha asked his disciples, "Who do people say I am?" They answered, "Some people say you are John the Baptist, others say you are Elijah, and others say you are one of the prophets." Then Yahusha asked, "Yeah? And who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "You're the Messiah." And Yahusha told his disciples, "Don't tell anyone who I am yet." Then Yahusha began to teach his disciples that the Son of Man, a term that Daniel the prophet used to describe the coming divine human being and deliverer, the Alahim man, must suffer many things and would not be accepted by the Jewish elders, scribes, and Pharisees. He said that the Son of Man must be killed and then rise from the dead after 3 days. Yahusha told them everything that would happen and didn't keep anything secret from them. Peter took Yahusha away from the other disciples to talk to him alone. Then Peter criticized and rebuked him for saying these heavy things. But Yahusha turned and looked at his disciples. Then he rebuked Peter, saying, "Get out of here, Satan. Your thoughts are not Elohim's thoughts. You care only about the things of men." Then Yahusha called the crowd and his disciples to him, saying, "Any of you who want to be my disciple must stop thinking about yourself and what you want. You must deny yourself and pick up the torture stake that is given to you for following me. Any of you who try to save the life you have will lose it. But anyone who gives up their life for the good news and for me will save it. It is worth nothing for you to have the whole world if you yourself are lost. You could never pay enough to buy back your life. People today are so sinful and adulterous. They haven't been loyal to Elohim at all. As you live among them, don't be ashamed of me and my teaching. For if that happens, I'll be ashamed of you when I come with the esteem of my Father and the set apart angels. Chapter 9. Then Yahusha said, "Believe me when I say that some of you people standing here will see the kingdom of heaven come with power before you die." 6 days later, Yahusha took Peter, James, and John and went up on a high mountain. They were all alone there. While these disciples watched him, Yahusha was changed, transformed or transfigured. His clothes became shining white, glowing whiter than anyone on earth could ever make them. Then 2 men were there talking with Yahusha. They were Elijah and Moses. Peter said to Yahusha, "Teacher, it's so good that we're here. We'll go put 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." Peter was just riffing, not knowing what to say, because he and the other 2 were so afraid. Then a cloud came and covered them. A voice came from the cloud and said, "This is my son, my beloved, so listen to him." Then they looked, but they saw only Yahusha there alone with them again. As Yahusha and his disciples were walking back down the mountain, he gave them these instructions. "Don't tell anyone about what you saw in the mountain. Wait until after the Son of Man rises from the dead. Then you can tell everyone what you saw." So they waited to say anything about what they saw. But they discussed among themselves what Yahusha meant about rising from the dead. They asked him, "Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" Yahusha answered, "They are right to say that Elijah must come first. Elijah makes all things the way they should be. But why do the scriptures say that the Son of Man will suffer much, and that people will think he is worth nothing? I tell you that Elijah has already come, and people did to him all the bad things they wanted to do. The scriptures said this would happen to him." Then Yahusha, Peter, James, and John went to the other disciples. They saw many people around them. The scribes were arguing with Yahusha's disciples as usual. When the people saw Yahusha, they were very surprised and ran to welcome him. Yahusha asked, "What are you arguing about with the scribes?" A man answered, "Teacher, I brought my son to you. He is controlled by an evil spirit that keeps him from talking. The demon attacks him and throws him on the ground. He foams at the mouth, grinds his teeth, and becomes stiff as a board. I asked your followers to force the evil spirit out, but they couldn't." Yahusha answered, "Don't you people today believe anything? How long must I be patient and stay with you? Go and bring the boy to me. Go on." So his followers brought the boy to Yahusha. And when the demon spirit saw Yahusha, it attacked the boy even more. The boy fell down and rolled around on the ground, foaming at the mouth. Yahusha asked the boy's father, "How long has this been happening to him?" The father answered, "Since he was very young, master. The spirit often throws him into a fire or into water, trying to kill him. Please, I beg you, if you can do anything, please have mercy on us and help us." Yahusha said to the father, "Why did you say, 'if you can'? All these things are possible for the one who believes." Immediately the father cried out with tears, I do believe. Please help me to believe more." Yahusha saw that all the people were running there to see what was happening. So he spoke to the demon spirit, saying, "You stupid, deaf, dumb demon, I command you to get out and never enter him again." The evil spirit screamed, causing the boy to fall on the ground again, and then it came out. The boy looked as if he was dead. Many people said, "He is dead." But Yahusha took hold of his hand and helped him stand up. Then Yahusha went into the house. His disciples were alone with him there. They said, "Why weren't we able to force that evil spirit out?" Yahusha answered, "That kind of spirit can only be forced out with prayer and fasting." Then Yahusha and his disciples left there and went through Galilee. Yahusha did not want the people to know they were there. He wanted to teach his disciples alone for a while. He said to them, "The Son of Man will be handed over to the control of other men, who will kill him. After 3 days, he will rise from the dead." But his disciples did not understand what he meant, and they were afraid to ask him. Yahusha and his disciples went to Capernaum. They went into a house, and Yahusha said to them, "I heard you arguing on the way here today. What were you arguing about?" But his disciples didn't answer, because their argument on the road was about which one of them was the greatest. Yahusha sat down and called his 12 disciples to him. He said, "Whoever wants to be the greatest must make others more important than themselves. They must serve everyone else." Then Yahusha took a small child and stood the child in front of his disciples. He held the child in his arms and said, "Whoever accepts children like these in my name is accepting me, and anyone who accepts me is also accepting the one who sent me." Then John said, "Teacher, we saw a man using your name to force demons out of someone. He's not one of us, so we told him to stop, because he doesn't belong to our group." Yahusha said, "Don't stop him. Whoever uses my name to do a miracle won't be bad-mouthing me, will they? Whoever is not against us is with us. I can assure you that anyone who helps you by giving you a drink of water because you belong to the Messiah will definitely get a reward. If one of these little children believes in me, and someone causes that child to sin, it will be very bad for that person. It would be better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and be drowned in the sea. If your hand makes you sin, cut it off. It is better for you to lose part of your body and have eternal life than to have 2 hands and go to destruction where the fire never stops. If your foot makes you sin, cut it off. It is better for you to lose part of your body and have eternal life than to have 2 feet and be destroyed. If your eye makes you sin, pluck it out. For it is better for you to have only 1 eye and enter the kingdom of heaven than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into destruction. Everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if it loses its salty taste, you can't make it good again. So don't lose that good quality of salty behavior you have, and live in peace with each other." Chapter 10. Then Yahusha left there and went into the area of Judea and across the Jordan River. Again, many people came to him, and Yahusha taught them, as he always did. Some Pharisees came to Yahusha and tried to make him say something wrong. They asked him, "Is it right for a man to divorce his wife?" Yahusha answered, "What did Moses command you to do?" The Pharisees said, "Moses allowed a man to divorce his wife by writing a certificate of divorce." Yahusha said, Moses wrote that command for you because your hard hearts refused to accept Elohim's true instruction. But when Elohim made the world, he made people male and female. That is why a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two separate individuals, but one united flesh. Elohim has joined them together, so no one should ever separate them. Later, when his disciples were in the house with him, they asked about the question of divorce. He said, well, if you really want to know, whoever divorces his wife and marries another woman has sinned against his wife, and he's guilty of adultery, breaking wedlock, the seventh command. And the woman who divorces her husband and marries another man is also guilty of adultery. People brought their small children to Yahusha so that he could lay his hands on them to bless them. But his followers told the people to stop bringing their children to him. And Yahusha saw what happened and didn't like them telling the children not to come. So he said, let the little children come to me. Don't stop them, because the kingdom of heaven belongs to the people who are like these little children. The truth is, you must believe and accept my kingdom just like a little child accepts all things as truth. Otherwise, you'll never enter it. Then Yahusha held the children in his arms and laid his hands on them and blessed them. Yahusha started to leave, but a man ran to him and bowed down on his knees before him. The man asked, good teacher, what must I do to get this eternal life you're talking about? Yahusha answered, why do you call me good? Only Elohim is good, and you already know his commands. Don't murder, commit adultery, steal, lie, cheat, and you must respect your father and mother, etc. The man said, teacher, I have obeyed all these commands since I was a boy. Yahusha looked at the man in a way that showed how much he cared for him, and he said, there is still one thing you need to do. Go and sell everything you have. Give the money to those who are poor, and you will have riches in heaven. Then come and follow me. The man was upset when Yahusha told him to give away all his money. He didn't want to do this, because he was very rich, so he went away sad. Then Yahusha looked at his disciples and said, it will be very hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. His disciples were amazed at what Yahusha said. But he said again, my children, it is near impossible for those with great riches to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter my kingdom. And his followers were even more amazed, and said to each other, then who on earth can be delivered then? Yahusha looked at them and said, with mankind it is impossible, but with Elohim anything and everything is possible. Peter said to Yahusha, but we left everything to follow you. Yahusha said, I can promise that everyone who has left their home, brothers, sisters, mother, father, children, or farm for me and for the good news about me, will get 100 times more than they left. Here in this world, they will get more homes, brothers, sisters, mothers, children, and farms. And with these things, they will have great pressure. But in the new world that is coming, they will also get the reward of eternal life. Many people who have the highest place now will have the lowest place in the future. And the people who have the lowest place now will have the highest place then. The first will be last, and the last will be first. Yahusha and those with him were on their way to Jerusalem. He was at the front of the group. His disciples were wondering what was happening, and the people who followed behind them were feeling afraid. Yahusha gathered his 12 close followers again and talked with them alone. He told them what would happen in Jerusalem. He said, "We are going to Jerusalem. The Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and scribes. They will say that he must die, and will hand him over to the Gentiles, the foreign nations, who will mock him and spit on him. They will beat him with whips and kill him. But on the third day after his death, he will rise up to life again." Then James and John, sons of Zebedee, came to Yahusha and said, "Teacher, we want to ask you to do something for us." Yahusha asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" The sons answered, "Let us share the great honor you will have as king. Let one of us sit at your right side and the other at your left." Yahusha said, "You don't even understand what you're asking. Can you drink from the same cup that I must drink from? Can you be baptized with the same baptism experience that I must go through?" The sons answered, "Yes, we can." Yahusha said to the sons, "It is true that you will drink from the cup that I drink from, and you will be immersed with the same experience as me. But it is not for me to say who you will sit at the right hand or my left. Alahim has prepared those places for the ones he chooses." When the other 10 disciples heard this, they were angry with James and John. Yahusha called all the disciples together, saying, "Those out in the nations have men they call rulers, who love to show their power over the people, and their important leaders love to use all their authority over the people. But it should not be that way with you. Whoever wants to be your leader must be your servant. Whoever wants to be first must serve the rest of you like a slave. Follow my example. Even the Son of Man did not come for the people to serve him. He came to serve others and to give his life to deliver many people." Then they came to the town of Jericho. When Yahusha left there with his followers, a large crowd was with them. A blind man named Bartimaeus, meaning son of Timaeus, was sitting by the road. He was always begging for money. He heard that Yahusha from Nazareth was walking by, so he began shouting, "Yahusha, son of David, please help me." Many people criticized the blind man and told him to be quiet, but he shouted more and more, "Yahusha, son of David, please help me." So Yahusha stopped and said, "Tell him to come here." So they called the blind man and said, "You can be happy now. Stand up. Yahusha is calling you." The blind man stood up quickly. He left his coat there and went to Yahusha. Yahusha asked the man, "What do you want me to do for you?" He answered, "Teacher, I want to see again." Yahusha said, "Go, for you are healed because you believed." Immediately the man was able to see again, and he followed Yahusha down the road. Chapter 11. Yahusha and his disciples were coming closer to Jerusalem. They came to the towns of Bethphage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives. There Yahusha sent 2 of his followers to do something. He said to them, "Go to the town you can see there. When you enter it, you will find a young donkey that no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here to me. If anyone asks you why you are taking the donkey, tell them, 'The master needs it. He will send it back soon.'" So his disciples went into the town and found a young donkey tied in the street near the door of a house, and they untied it. Some people were standing there and saw this. They asked, "What are you doing? Why are you untying that donkey?" They answered the way Yahusha told them, and the people let them take the donkey. And they brought the donkey to Yahusha. They put their coats on it, and Yahusha sat on it. Many people spread their coats on the road for Yahusha. Others cut palm branches in the fields and spread the branches on the road. Some of them were walking ahead of Yahusha. Others were walking behind him. And everyone shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. In the name of Yahuwah. Hosanna in the highest." So Yahusha entered Jerusalem and went to the temple. He looked at everything in the temple area, but it was already late. So he went to Bethany with his 12 close disciples. The next day, Yahusha was leaving Bethany and he was hungry. He saw a fig tree with leaves, so he went to the tree to see if it had any figs growing on it. But he found no figs on the tree. There were only leaves, because it was not the right time for figs to grow. So Yahusha said to the tree, "People will never eat fruit from you again." His disciples heard him say this. When Yahusha and his disciples came to Jerusalem, they entered the temple area, and Yahusha began driving out the people who were buying and selling things there. He turned over the tables that belonged to those who were exchanging different kinds of money, and he turned over the benches of those who were selling doves. He refused to allow anyone to carry things through the temple area. Then Yahusha began teaching the people and said, "It's written in the scriptures, 'My temple will be called a house of prayer for all nations,' but you have changed it into a hiding place for thieves." When the chief priests and the scribes heard what Yahusha said, they began trying to find a way to kill him. They were afraid of him because all the people were amazed at his teaching. That night, Yahusha and his disciples left the city. The next morning, Yahusha was walking with the disciples. They saw the fig tree that he spoke to the day before. The tree was dry and dead, even the roots. Peter remembered the tree and said to Yahusha, "Master, look! Yesterday you told that fig tree to die. Now it is dry and dead." Yahusha answered, "Believe in Elohim. The truth is, you can say to this mountain, 'Go mountain, fall into the sea.' And if you have no doubts in your mind and believe that what you will say will happen, then Elohim will do it for you. So I tell you to ask for what you want in prayer, and if you believe that you have received those things, then they will be yours. When you are praying, and you remember that you were angry with another person about something, forgive that person. Forgive them so that your Father in heaven will also forgive your sins. But if you don't forgive, neither shall your Father in heaven forgive your behavior." Yahusha and his disciples went again to Jerusalem. Yahusha was walking in the temple area. The chief priests, scribes, and elders came to him, saying, "Tell us, what authority do you have to do these things? Who gave you this authority?" Yahusha answered, "I will ask you a question too, and if you answer it, then I'll tell you whose authority I use to do these things. Tell me, when John immersed people, did his authority come from heaven, or was it only from men? Come on, answer me." The Jewish leaders talked about Yahusha's question. They said to each other, "If we answer John's baptism was from Elohim, and he will say, 'Then why didn't you believe John and get baptized?' But we can't say that John's baptism was from someone else." These leaders were afraid of the people, because the people believed that John was a prophet. So the leaders answered Yahusha, "We don't know the answer." Yahusha said, "Fantastic! Then I won't tell you who gave me the authority to do these things."
Chapter 12. Yahusha used parables to teach the people, saying, "A man planted a vineyard. He put a wall around the field and dug a hole for a winepress. Then he built a tower. He leased the land to some farmers and left for a trip. Later, it was time for the grapes to be picked, so the man sent a servant to the farmers to get his share of the grapes. But the farmers grabbed the servant and beat him. They sent him away with nothing. Then the man sent another servant to the farmers. They hit this servant on the head, showing no respect for him. So the man sent another servant. The farmers killed the servant. The man sent many other servants to the farmers. The farmers beat some of them and killed the others. The man had only one person left to send to the farmers. It was his son. He loved his son, but he decided to send him. He said, 'The farmers will respect my son, surely.' But the farmers said to each other, 'This is the owner's own son, and this vineyard will be his. But if we kill him, it will be ours.' So they took the son, threw him out of the vineyard, and killed him. So what will the man who owns the vineyard do? He will go and kill those farmers. Then he will lease the land to others. Surely you have read this in the scriptures. The stone that the builders rejected became the chief cornerstone. Alahim did this, and it is truly wonderful to us." When the Pharisees heard this story, they knew it was about them, so they wanted to find a way to arrest Yahusha, but they were afraid of what the crowd would do, so they left him and went away. Later, the Jewish leaders sent some Pharisees and some men from the group called the Herodians to Yahusha. They wanted to catch him saying something wrong. They went to Yahusha and said, "Teacher, we know that you are an honest man. You are not afraid of what others think about you. All people are the same to you, and you teach the truth about Alahim's way. Tell us, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar? Should we pay them or not?" But Yahusha knew that these men were really trying to trick him. He said, "Why are you trying to catch me saying something wrong again? Bring me a silver coin. Let me see it." They gave Yahusha a coin, and he asked, "Whose picture is on the coin, and whose name is written on it?" They answered, "It is Caesar's picture and Caesar's name." Then Yahusha said to them, "Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to Alahim what belongs to Alahim." The men were amazed at what Yahusha said. Then some Sadducees came to Yahusha. Now Sadducees believed that no one will be resurrected from the dead. And they asked him a question. "Teacher, Moses wrote that if a married man dies and has no children, his brother must marry the woman. Then they will have children for the dead brother. There were 7 brothers. The first brother married but died. He had no children. So the second brother married the woman. But he also died and had no children. The same thing happened with the third brother. All 7 brothers married the woman and died. None of the brothers had any children with her, and she was the last to die. But all 7 brothers had married her. So at the time when people rise from the dead, whose wife will she be?" Yahusha answered, "How could you be so wrong? Probably because you don't know what the scriptures say, and you don't know anything about Alahim's power. When people rise from the dead, there will be no marriage. People will not be married to each other. All people will be like angels in heaven. Surely you have read what Alahim said about people rising from the dead. In the book where Moses wrote about the burning bush, it says that Yahuwah told Moses this, 'I am the Alahim of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob.' So they were not still dead, because he is the Alahim only of living people. You Sadducees are so wrong." One of the scribes came to Yahusha, for he heard Yahusha arguing with the Pharisees and Sadducees. He saw that Yahusha gave good answers to their questions, so he asked him, "Which of the commands is the most important?" Yahusha answered, "The most important command is this: People of Israel, listen. Yahuwah is the only living Alahim, and he is one. And you will love Yahuah your Alahim with all your heart, all your being, with all your mind, and all your strength. The second most important command is this: love your neighbor the same as you love yourself. These two commands are the most important. These are the two commands Yahusha gave to summarize the 10 previous commands. In fact, all the laws and commands hang on these two new royal laws. These are the two commands that Yahusha gave to summarize the 10 previous commands. In fact, all the laws and prophets hang on these two new covenant commands of loving behavior. If we step out of the love, we step out of the covenant and are legally liable for our behavior. The scribe answered, "That was a good answer, teacher. You are right in saying that Yahuah is the only Alahim and there is none other. And you must love Yahuah with all your heart, your mind, and all your strength. And you must love others the same as you love yourself. These commands are more important than all the animals and sacrifices we offer to Alahim." Yahusha saw that the man answered him wisely, so he said, "You are not far from Yahuah's kingdom." And after that, no one was brave enough to ask Yahusha any more questions. Yahusha was teaching in the temple area, and he asked, "Why do you scribes say that the Messiah is the son of David?" With the help of the set-apart spirit, David himself said, "Yahuah Alahim said to my master, 'Sit by me here in all authority, and I will put your enemies under your control.'" David himself calls the Messiah Master. So how can the Messiah be David's son? Many people listened to Yahusha and were very pleased. Yahusha continued teaching. He said, "Be careful of the scribes. They like to walk around wearing clothes that look important, and they love for people to show respect to them in the marketplaces. They love to have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. But they cheat widows and take their homes. Then they try to make themselves look good by saying long prayers. I tell you, Alahim will punish them very much." Yahusha sat near the temple collection box and watched as people put money into it. Many rich people put in a lot of money. Then a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth less than a penny. But Yahusha called his disciples to him and said, "This poor widow put in only 2 small coins, but the truth is, she gave more than all those rich people. They have plenty, and they gave only what they did not need. This woman is very poor, but she gave all she had. It was money she needed to live by." Chapter 13. Yahusha was leaving the temple area. One of his disciples said to him, "Teacher, look how big those stones are. What beautiful buildings." Yahusha said, "Do you see these great buildings? They will all be destroyed. Every stone will be thrown down to the ground. Not one stone will be left on another." Later, Yahusha was sitting at a place on the Mount of Olives. He was alone with Peter, James, John, and Andrew. They could all see the temple, and they said to Yahusha, "Tell us when these things will happen, and what signs will show us it's time for them to happen." Yahusha said to them, "Be careful. Don't let anyone fool you. Many people will come and use my name. They will say, 'I am the Messiah,' and they will fool many people. You will hear about wars that are being fought, and you will hear stories about other wars beginning, but don't be afraid. These things must happen before the end comes. Nations will fight against other nations. Kingdoms will fight against other kingdoms. There will be times when there is no food for people to eat, and there will be earthquakes in different places. These things are only the beginning of troubles, like the first pains of a woman giving birth. You must be careful. There are people who will arrest you and take you to be judged for being my followers. They will beat you in their synagogues. You will be forced to stand before kings and governors. You will tell them about me. Before the end comes, the good news must be told to all nations. Even when you are arrested and put on trial, don't worry about what you will say. Say whatever Alahim tells you at the time. It will not really be you speaking. It will be the set-apart Spirit speaking through you. Brothers will turn against their own brothers and hand them over to be killed. Fathers will hand over their own children to be killed. Children will fight against their own parents and have them killed. All people will hate you because you follow me, but those who remain trustworthy and endure to the end will be delivered. When you see the abomination that causes destruction, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up where it shouldn't be, I trust you understand what this means. It is Satan enthroned on the hearts of mankind, possessing their behavior, causing the worst kind of idolatry, the worship of the fleshly self and the ego. That is the abomination of desolation. Everyone in Judah at that time should run to the mountains. They should run away without wasting time to stop for anything. If someone is on the roof of their house, they must not go down to take things out of the house. If someone is in the field, they must not go back to get a coat. During that time, it will be hard for women who are pregnant or have small babies. Pray that these things will not happen in winter, because those days will be full of trouble. There will be more trouble than has ever happened since the beginning, when Alahim made the world, and nothing that bad will ever happen again. But Alahim has decided to make that terrible time shorter, for if it were not made short, no one could survive. But Alahim will make that time short to help his chosen people. Someone might say to you at that time, "Look, there is the Master." Or another person might say, "There he is," but don't believe them. False messiahs and false prophets will come and do miracles and wonders, trying to fool the people Alahim has chosen, if that's possible. So be careful. Now I've warned you about all this before it happens. During the days following that time of trouble, the sun will become dark and the moon will not give light. The stars will fall from the sky and everything in the sky will be changed. Then people will see the son of Adam coming in the clouds with great power and esteem. He will send his angels all around the earth. They will gather his chosen people from every part of the earth. The fig tree teaches us a lesson. When its branches become green and soft and new leaves begin to grow, then you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things happening, you will know that the time is very near, already present. I assure you that all these things will happen while some of this generation are still living. The whole world, earth and sky will be destroyed, but my words will last forever. No one knows when that day or time will be. The Son and the angels in heaven don't even know when that day or time will be. Only the Father knows. So be careful. Always be ready. You don't know when that time will be. It's like a man who goes on a trip and leaves his house in the care of his servants. He gives each one a special job to do. He tells the servant guarding the door to always be ready. And this is what I'm telling you now. You must always be ready. You don't know when the owner of the house will come back. He might come in the afternoon or at midnight or in the early morning or when the sun rises. If you are always ready, he will not find you sleeping, even if he comes back earlier than expected. I tell you this, and I say it to everyone, be ready. Chapter 14. It was now only 2 days before the feast of Passover, or unleavened bread. The chief priests and scribes were trying to find a way to arrest Yahusha without the people seeing it, but they could, so they could kill him. They said, "But we cannot arrest Yahusha during the festival. We don't want the people to be angry and cause a riot." Yahusha was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper. While he was eating there, a woman came to him. She had an alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume made of pure nard. She opened the jar and poured the perfume on Yahusha's head. Some of his disciples there saw this and were very upset and complained to each other, saying, "Why waste all that perfume? It was worth a full year's pay." It could have been sold and the money given to those who are poor. And they rebuked the woman, telling her what a bad thing she had done. Then Yahusha said, "Leave her alone. Why are you giving her such a hard time? She did a very lovely thing for me. You will always have the poor with you, and you can help them any time you want, but you will not always have me. This woman did the only thing she could do for me. She poured marvelous perfume on my body before I die, to prepare it for burial. The good news of deliverance will be told to people all over the world, and I can assure you that everywhere the good news is told, the story of what this woman did will also be told, and people will remember her." Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 close disciples, went to talk to the chief priests about handing Yahusha over to them. They were very happy about this, and they promised to pay him. So he waited for the best convenient time to hand Yahusha over to them. So on the day before the preparation day for the festival of Passover, the preparation day was the day the lambs were to be killed for the Passover, Yahusha's disciples came to him and said, "We'll go and prepare everything for you to eat the Passover meal." "But where do you want to eat?" Yahusha sent 2 of his disciples into the city. He said to them, "Go into the city. You will see a man carrying a jar of water. He will come to you. Follow him. He will go into a house. Tell the owner of the house, the teacher asks that you show us the room where he and his disciples can eat the Passover meal. The owner will show you a large room upstairs that is ready for us. Prepare the meal for us there." So the disciples left and went into the city. Everything happened the way Yahusha said, so his disciples prepared the Passover meal. In the evening, Yahusha went to that house with his 12 close disciples. While they were all at the house eating, he said, "Believe me when I say that one of you will hand me over to my enemies, one of you eating with me now." The disciples were very sad to hear this. Each one said to Yahusha, "Surely I'm not the one." Yahusha answered, "It is one of you 12, the one who is dipping his bread in the same bowl with me. The son of Adam will suffer what the scriptures say will happen to him, but it will be very bad for the one who hands over the son of Adam to be killed. In fact, it would be better for him if he'd never been born." While they were eating, Yahusha took some bread and thanked Alahim for it. He broke off some pieces, gave them to the disciples and said, "Take and eat this bread. It's my body." Then later he took a cup of wine, thanked Alahim for it and gave it to them. They all drank from the cup. He said to them, "This is my blood for a new blood covenant, which will be poured out for many. I want you to know that I won't drink this wine again until that day when I drink it anew in the kingdom of heaven." Now drinking it anew, Yahusha had to take his new, perfect Alahim blood, soon to be poured out, into the heavenly sanctuary and cleanse it, making all things new and clean again. Yahusha was not establishing a new bread and wine tradition here, but using the traditional Passover feast food and drink, the shadows, at the table as symbols for what was about to happen to his own body and blood, to usher in a brand new covenant of deliverance for a new bride. Then they all sang a song and went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Yahusha told his disciples, "You will all lose your belief. The scriptures say, 'I will kill the shepherd and all the sheep will run away. But after I am killed, I will rise from the dead. Then I'll go to Galilee. I will be there before you come.'" Peter said, "Well, all the other followers may lose their belief, but not me. My belief will never be shaken." Yahusha answered, "The truth is, tonight you will say you don't even know me, and you will say it 3 times before the rooster crows twice." But Peter strongly protested, "I will never say that. No way. I'll never say I don't know you. I will even die with you." And all the other disciples said the same thing. Yahusha and his disciples went to a place named Gethsemane. He said to them, "Sit here while I pray." But he told Peter, James and John to come with him. But he began to be very distressed and troubled. And he said to them, "My heart is so heavy with grief. I feel as if I'm dying. Wait here and stay awake, please." Yahusha went on a little farther away from them, fell to the ground and prayed. He asked that, if possible, he would not have this time of suffering. He said, "Father, you can do all things. Don't make me drink from this cup. But do what you want, not what I want." Then he went back to his disciples and found them sleeping. He said to Peter, "Simon, why are you sleeping? Could you not stay awake with me for 1 hour? Stay awake and pray for strength against temptation. Your spirit wants to do what's right, but your body is weak." Again Yahusha went away and prayed the same thing. Then he went back to his disciples and again found them sleeping. They could not stay awake. They did not know what they should say to him. And after Yahusha prayed a third time, he went back to his disciples, saying to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Well, that's enough. The time has come for the Son of Adam to be handed over to the control of sinful men. Stand up, we must go. Here comes the man who is handing me over to them." While Yahusha was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12 close disciples, came over. He had a big crowd of people with him, all carrying swords and clubs. They had been sent from the chief priest and the scribes and elders. Judas planned to do something to show them which one was Yahusha. He said, "The one I kiss will be Yahusha. Arrest him and guard him while you lead him away." So Yahusha went over to Yahusha and said, "Teacher." Then he kissed him. The men grabbed Yahusha and arrested him. One of the disciples standing near Yahusha grabbed his sword and pulled it out. He swung it at the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. Then Yahusha said, "Why do you come to get me with swords and clubs as if I were a criminal? Every day I was with you teaching in the temple area, and you did not arrest me there. But all these things have happened to show the full meaning of what the scriptures said." Then all of Yahusha's disciples scarpered and ran away. One of those following Yahusha was a young man wearing only a linen cloth. When the people tried to grab him, he left the cloth in their hands and he ran away naked. Those who arrested Yahusha led him to the house of the high priest. All the chief priests, the elders and scribes were gathered there. Peter followed Yahusha but stayed back at a distance. He followed him to the yard of the high priest's house. He went into the yard and sat there with the guards, warming himself by their fire. The chief priests and the whole high council tried to find something that Yahusha had done wrong so they could kill him, but the council could find no proof that would allow them to kill Yahusha. Many people came and told lies against Yahusha, but they all said different things. None of them agreed. Then some others stood up and told more lies against him. They said, "We heard this man say, 'I will destroy this temple built by human hands, and 3 days later I will build another temple not made by human hands.' But also what these people said did not agree." Then the high priest stood up before everyone and said to Yahusha, "These people said things against you. Do you have something to say about their charges? Are they telling the truth?" But Yahusha said nothing to answer him. Then the high priest asked Yahusha another question. "Are you the Messiah, the son of our blessed Alahim?" Yahusha answered, "Yes, I am the son of Alahim, and in the future you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand," which means in all authority, "at the right hand of Alahim, all powerful, and you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven as Alahim." When the high priest heard this, he tore his clothes in a rage, screaming, "We don't need any more witnesses. You all heard these insults to Alahim. What do you think?" And everyone agreed that Yahusha was guilty and must be killed. Some of the first people there even spat at him. They covered his eyes and hit him with their fists. They said, "Well, you're a prophet, so tell us who hit you." Then the guards led Yahusha away and beat him. While Peter was still in the yard, a servant girl of the high priest came over there. She saw him warming himself by the fire. She looked closely at him and said, "You were with Yahusha, that man from Nazareth." But Peter said this wasn't true. "That makes no sense," he said. "I don't know what you're talking about." Then he left and went to the entrance of the yard, and a rooster crowed. When the girl saw him there, she began saying again to the people standing around, this man is one of them. And again Peter said it was not true. A short time later, the people standing there said, "We know you are you are one of them. We know you're one of them, because you even speak like you're from Galilee." Then Peter began to curse, saying, "I swear I don't know this man. Don't know this man you're talking about. I don't even know who he is." As soon as Peter said this, the rooster crowed the second time. Then he remembered what Yahusha had told him. "Before the rooster crows twice, you will say 3 times that you don't even know me." Then Peter began to weep. Chapter 15. Very early in the morning, the chief priests, the elders and scribes, and the whole high council decided what to do with Yahusha. They bound him, led him away, and handed him over to the Roman governor Pilate. But Pilate asked Yahusha, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Yahusha answered, "Yes, you said it." The chief priests accused Yahusha of many things. So Pilate asked Yahusha another question, saying, "You can see that these people are accusing you of many things. Why don't you answer?" But Yahusha still did not answer, and this really surprised Pilate. Every year at the Passover time, the governor would free one prisoner, whichever one the people wanted. There was a man in prison at that time named Barabbas. He and the criminals with him had been put in prison for committing murder during a riot. The people came to Pilate and asked him to free a prisoner, as he always did. Pilate asked them, "Do you want me to free the king of the Jews?" Pilate knew that the chief priests had only handed Yahusha over to him because they were jealous of him. But the chief priests persuaded the people to ask Pilate to free Barabbas, not Yahusha. Pilate asked the people again, "So what should I do with this man you call the King of the Jews?" The people shouted, "Impale him on a torture stake, impale him." Pilate answered, "But why? What's he done wrong?" But the people shouted louder and louder, "Impale him on a torture stake, kill him." Pilate wanted to please the people, so he set Barabbas free for them, and he told the soldiers to beat Yahusha with whips. Then he handed him over to the soldiers to be killed on a torture stake. Pilate's soldiers took Yahusha into the governor's palace, called the Praetorium. They called all the other soldiers together. They put a purple robe on Yahusha, made a crown from thorny branches, and put it on his head. Then they began shouting, "Welcome, King of the Jews, welcome." They kept on beating his head with a stick and spitting on him. Then they bowed down on their knees and pretended to honor him as a king, mocking him. After they finished mocking, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him again. Then they led him out of the palace to be impaled on a torture stake. There was a man from Cyrene named Simon walking into the city from the fields. He was the father of Alexander and Rufus. The soldiers forced him to carry Yahusha's torture stake. They led Yahusha to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. There they gave him some wine mixed with myrrh, but he refused to drink it. The soldiers nailed Yahusha to a torture stake, but they divided his clothes among themselves, throwing dice to see who would get what. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they nailed Yahusha to the torture stake. There was a sign nailed above him with the charge against him written on it. It said, "The King of the Jews." They also nailed 2 criminals to torture stakes beside Yahusha, one on the right and one on the left. And the scriptures were fulfilled that said, "He was punished with the lawless criminals." People walked by and said horrible things to Yahusha, mocking him. They shook their heads and said, "You said you could destroy the temple and build it again in 3 days. So save yourself now. Come on, come down from that stake." The chief priests and the scribes were also there, and they mocked Yahusha the same as the other people did, saying to each other, "He delivered others, but he can't deliver himself. If he really is the Messiah, the King of Israel, he should come down from that torture stake now. If we see him do that, then we'll believe in him." The criminals on the torture stake beside Yahusha also said horrible things to him. At noon, the whole country became dark. This darkness continued until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which means he was hanging there for about 6 hours. At 3 o'clock, Yahusha cried out loudly, Ali, Ali, lama sabachthani. This means, my Alahim, why have you forsaken me? Why have you left me alone? Some of the people standing there heard this and they said, listen, he's calling to Elijah. One man there ran and got a sponge. He filled the sponge with sour wine and tied it to a stick. Then he used the stick to give the sponge to Yahusha to get a drink from it. The man said, we should wait now and see if Elijah will come to take him down from the torture stake. Then Yahusha cried loudly, gave up his spirit, and died. And the moment Yahusha died, the curtain in the temple, hiding the fact that there was no ark or presence in this dead institution, that curtain in the temple was torn into pieces. The tear started at the top and tore all the way to the bottom. The army officer who was standing there in front of the torture stake saw what happened when Yahusha died, and he said, surely this man really was the son of Alahim. Some women were standing away from the torture stake watching. Among these women were Mary Magdalene, Shalom, and Mary the mother of James and Joseph. These were the women who had followed Yahusha in Galilee and cared for him. Many other women who had come with Yahusha to Jerusalem were also there. It was still the preparation day, the day before the first annual high Sabbath of Passover, and it was getting dark, and dead bodies were not allowed to stay hanging on stakes during the high Sabbath, because that would be unclean. So a man named Joseph from Arimathea was brave enough to go to Pilate and ask for Yahusha's body. Joseph was an important member of the High Council. He was one of the people who wanted the kingdom of heaven to come. Pilate was surprised to hear that Yahusha was already dead, so he called for the army officer in charge and asked him if Yahusha was already dead. When Pilate heard it from the officer, he told Joseph he could have the body. Joseph bought some linen cloth. He took the body from the torture stake, wrapped it in the linen, and put the body in a tomb that was dug in a wall of rock. Then he closed the tomb by rolling a large stone to cover the entrance. Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of James saw the place where Yahusha was placed. Finally, chapter 16. After the weekly Sabbath day, Mary Magdalene, Shalom, and Mary the mother of James bought some sweet-smelling spices to put on Yahusha's body. Very early on that day, the first day of the week, the women were going to the tomb. It was very early after sunrise. The women said to each other, there is a large stone covering the entrance of the tomb. Who will move the stone for us? Then the women looked and saw that the stone was already moved. The stone was very large, but it had been rolled away from the entrance. The women walked into the tomb and saw a young man there wearing a white robe. He was sitting on the right side of the tomb. The women were afraid, but the man said, don't be afraid. You are looking for Yahusha from Nazareth, the one who was killed on the torture stake. He has risen from the dead. See, he's not here. Look, here is the place they put him when he died. Now go and tell his followers, and be sure to tell Peter. Tell them Yahusha is going into Galilee and will be there before you arrive there. You'll see him there, as he told you before. These women were very afraid and confused. They left the tomb and ran away. They did not tell anyone about what happened because they were too afraid. Yahusha rose from the dead in the evening, right after the weekly Sabbath, and he appeared first to Mary Magdalene. One time in the past, Yahusha had forced 7 demons out of Mary. After Mary saw Yahusha, she went and told his disciples. They were very sad and were crying, but Mary told them that Yahusha was alive. She said that she had seen Yahusha, but they didn't believe her. Later, Yahusha appeared to 2 followers while they were walking in the country, but Yahusha did not look the same as before he was killed. These followers went back to the others and told them what happened. Again, the other followers did not believe them. Later, Yahusha appeared to the 11 remaining close disciples while they were eating. He rebuked them for their unbelief and hardness of heart, for they were stubborn and refused to believe the people who said that Yahusha had risen from the dead. Yahusha said to them, Go everywhere in the world, spread the good news to everyone. Whoever believes and is baptized in my name will be delivered. And that means baptized in spirit and fire, not in physical water. But those who don't believe will be judged as guilty. And the people who do believe will be able to do all these things as proof. They will use my name to force demons out of people. They will speak in foreign languages they've never learned. If they pick up snakes or drink any poison, they will not be hurt. They will lay their hands on the sick people and they will get well. After the Master Yahusha said these things to the disciples, he was carried up into heaven, and there Yahusha sat in his Father's throne in all authority, in his Father's throne in all authority as Alahim. His followers went everywhere in the world, giving all people the gospel, the good news of deliverance, and Yahusha helped them. By giving them power to do many wonders and miracles, Yahusha proved that their message was the truth. That was the book of Mark, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us here in the Behavior Revolution Scriptures. Bye-bye.